Well, all right, guys, it's that time of the year. It's springtime, so that means it's time for this snowblower beast to go. I'm going to show you basically what I do to prepare it for the storage. What I'm going to end up doing, I'll go step by step each process. Hopefully it won't take too long, and let's get started, guys. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and the skid shoes here, I'm going to readjust them. Oh, get my socket on there. I'm going to adjust the skid shoes. Right now they're set up as high as they can, so when I'm skimming the snow, I'm taking all the snow. I'm not leaving the base layer. So in the fall time, next winter coming, what I want to do is I want to lower the skis so that I'm going to leave a base on my driveway here. A wrench. So it's a very simple process. Basically what I'm going to do is just have to undo the two bolts here, or the nuts and bolt, and I'm just going to reposition here on the ski. If you can see here on the side, I'm just going to put it up higher so that the skid shoe will actually drop lower, so that when I start at the beginning of the year for the next winter, it will create a base of snow, and then once that base has been developed, it will I'll adjust it again back to where I had it, so that I'm taking as much snow off as I possibly can, so I'm not leaving too much of a base. So we'll just tighten that up. And we'll get this side manually because my wrench or my drill gun won't fit in here unless I turn the auger. But it only take a second to do this. So we do the same thing on the other side. Quite easy. Get down here, just loosen them up. This one, the other one. Try not to lose the washers for them. Same process. Basically all I'm doing is taking the bolt out, shifting this down a little bit. I just shift it down one. I don't need to put it down two. I have recycled or reclaimed asphalt in the drive here, so there's not a lot of big stones. So I'm not too concerned about the how much of a base that I have. It's just a thin base is good. And I go do the same thing here on this side here. Just drop this here. I found when I put it at the highest level here that it just creates too much of a base. It's too high, and I don't really like that, because come springtime, if your base is too large, then you end up with a lot of slush in the drive. So we'll just tighten these back up. Okay, so that's nicely adjusted. So let's move on to the next step. And the next step is one I hate doing, and that's greasing. Greasing, as you guys all know, it's a dirty job, and it's, I don't know, I don't like the smell of grease either. Not just that it's kind of a messy thing, but it's also the smell of it. So on here, what I'm going to grease are the bearings, and I'll start off with the bearings for the auger here. I'm going to start on this side here. Pop this on top. I have a lock and lube, so it's nice. I can pull on it, it's no problem. And it's an electric gun, so. Now you don't want to put too much grease in there, just enough. If you put too much, it's just as bad as not putting anything. So, and on this side, it's the same thing. This one's a little harder to get in there when you're doing it here by the chain. So just pump a little bit of grease in there. So then on the back side here, There's a few spots. There's one in here. There's the one end of the drive shaft for the auger that comes this way, that comes off the PTO. And if I can just see in there, you won't be able to see in there quite well with the camera, but I can hardly see in here myself. Just trying to get it locked in there. It's a little hard to fit it. Well, I can try and get that in there. There we go. So now that's the nice thing again about the lock and lube. You can pull on that. So I'll just pump a little bit in there. Give about 3 pumps. And then up on top here, there's a little latch we're going to open up. And here you can see the mating of the drive shaft and the sprocket for the chain. There's another little fitting that I have to grease up. So the last place I have to grease is here. This is the beginning of the drive shaft that comes off the gearbox that's over here. And it goes down here on this end, attaches to the sprocket for the chain, and to the other sprocket of the chain down below that attaches to the auger so it all spins. So we'll just put a little bit of grease on that. Okay, so we're all done with the grease gun. Even if it's a little bit like that, I still hate greasing. It's dirty. So the next thing that we have to do is go around. Got a bunch of wrenches here, and I have to check all the bolts everywhere. It's very important, and this should be done regularly during the winter when you're doing the snow blowing as well. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to check all the bolts. You can see here for the bearing block here, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to use 2 wrenches on this one. Actually, I can just use the one. Now I'm just going to make sure everything's tight. I'm going to make sure I got this going the right way. Now you don't want to over torque it. Just want to make sure everything's snug. Now, if you over torque anything like this, something could crack, or you can strip the bolts. And the same thing here on this side. I'm going to do the same. And the one underneath, I'll get at it. There's always one that's hard to get at. Oh yeah, there we go. Go underneath. Okay, I know all those are nice and snug, so I'm going to go to the next set of bolts. Those were all 19 millimeters. The next set, I'm just going to go down here. You can see here on the edge, these are 9/16. Now I don't understand why the bolts, all the bolts on here are metric except for the ones that go across the bottom. They're all 9/16. I want to make sure they're all tight. There's no bolt underneath to hold on to, so they're just welded on. They're all nice. Make sure they're all snug. Now I'm wearing gloves, obviously, and the big reason why I wear gloves when I do this is because if the wrench slips, there's lots of metal to crash my hand into. And the last thing I want to do is smack my hand into a piece of metal because the wrench slips. There are torque specs for everything that I'm doing up here, but as long as it's tight, that's the main thing as far as I'm concerned, because I had torqued them initially, and if it's just a little bit loose, well, then all I'm doing is retorquing it just enough. And here, same thing. Just making sure everything's snug. One more down here. There's nothing that needs to be so tight that it doesn't do anything. You know, again, torquing to the right spec is the best way to do it. Read your manual for that. One other one here in the front is the or for the impeller rather. I was going to say auger. The impeller. Make sure that's nice and tight. And the other one, there's 2 more here. There's one here and one down there. Now you can see that they're threaded on with a nylock nut. So we just leave those alone, and I'll show you why. We don't need to tighten those any further. If you look back here, there's like a plastic canister where you can put the instructions for the snowblower or whatever. And this is plastic here, so you don't want to tighten those too much, because if you do, then the plastic is just going to break. Here on the back side, we've got a few more. This is where you gain access to the sprocket for the chain, and also for the drive shaft to pull it out. Now this here is 19s. It's going to make sure they're all nice and tight. I don't have to worry a lot about the nut on the other side, because if I can barely turn them here, that means the nut on the other side is nice and tight. These ones are 14 mil, the smaller ones. Make sure they're all nice and tight. Now this great big nut here, this is for the adjusting the chain. I don't touch this at this time of the year. It's kind of pointless. When I go to snowblow in the winter time coming up next winter, I'll make the adjustment if necessary. On here, this little trap door, there's a little bolt here, nut and bolt here. This is fine. I'm just going to do a visual check by eye. It's got a nylock nut as well. And if I try to tighten this up too tight, the nylon here, spacers or washers, will actually crush too much, so you don't want to adjust that anymore. On the back side here, there's a gearbox underneath where these 4 bolts are. I just leave those alone. I don't do anything with those bolts, because prior to the winter, next winter coming, I will remove those bolts and pull the gearbox out. And the reason why I pull the gearbox out is because I need to change the oil that's in the gearbox. So I only do that when the winter comes again. Up on here, there's this big massive nut and bolt. I have no idea why they have a massive nut and bolt for this. I can see it's plenty tight. Don't need to adjust that. Here we got a couple more 14 millimeter nut and bolts, nice and tight. Again, this is just holding this arm up, which is really not necessary to crank them too tight. It doesn't really do much. It's not going to come loose anyways. On this side over here, we've got this other bolt that holds just a little piece here, like it has an eye bolt on the other side, and it's just to hold the chain for the PTO shaft, and that's nice and snug. And then up on the top here, we've got a bunch of 13 millimeter, I'm gonna find my 13 millimeter nuts or bolts, and just make sure they're all snug. What I'm doing is, you can see here, I can turn this one just a little bit, but I can feel that it's really tight. And I don't need to over tighten it by holding the nut underneath, because I know it's tight already. And the same thing, again, on that one, I can feel it just moving a bit. I know I can feel the squeeze of it. I don't want to over tighten it. It is metal there, but I don't need to over tighten it. They do have a nut on the other side. If it was loose, I would feel it turning loosely, but because I got to pull pretty hard on it, it means that it's snug and it's just torqued just right in the case for whatever, for this unit here. So I just got to check the ones in the back, and there's 2 more on the other side, just back over here. Okay, that's all tight. And then we've got some smaller ones here. Those are 11 millimeters. I'm going to find 11 here, and I'll make sure that they're nice and, oh, I don't want to lose that. Oh yes, nice and snug. And then there's a few 11 millimeters here for this plate that hold this arm here. Okay, that's nice and snug, snug, and snug. That's tight enough for everything that I've got, so that takes care of all the nut and bolts. So now the very next thing, which is a very important thing as well, and that's just to check my auger and the bearings. Now I'm just going to check them, you know, kind of a rudimentary way to do it. I'm just going to go like this to see if there's any play in there. I want to make sure it's nice and tight, that's nice and snug, so I've got a good comfortable feeling that those bearings are still pretty good. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Gotta watch I don't squish my microphone. That's nice and snug. There's no play in there. That's solid as can be. I'm also going to check here on my impeller. I'm going to see if there's any movement, any looseness in there. It's fine that it has a little bit of play this way. That's perfectly normal. But I'm just trying to go in this way like this, and then I'm going to go like this a little bit. So everything feels really good. So it's nice and solid. I don't have to worry about my bearings to be replaced. You can also detect bad bearings, obviously, if you hear it, some grinding or some kind of weird noise, squealing or as such. So now that I've got all that done, then the very next thing is with a can. So I've got these lubes. What I like to use is the white lithium grease. It's a 3-in-1. It's great for to lubricate with kind of greases it all up, but also acts as for rust inhibitor as well. So it won't allow stuff to corrode too much. So now what I'm going to do is I go around and I spray everything that I can possibly spray here. And there's going to be quite a bit. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to spray this chute here. I'm going to spray all inside. Now I'm just protecting it from rusting up. Now some of you guys may just go ahead and paint all that stuff. To me, if you're going to paint it, I would paint it every 5 years. I wouldn't waste my paint or waste money on paint. When I just rather just grease it up, because it's going to, from the very first time you use it, it's going to get all scraped up anyways. But do whatever the way you want to do it. I'm going to open this up here a little bit on each one so I can grease up, lubricate the threads on the inside and the outside. It's going to tighten it up. And I'm going to put the chute down. And the reason I put the chute down is because I put a tarp over top, and it's just easier when I go to put the tarp. I'm going to lubricate all the bolts. Everywhere there's a bolt. And then I'm also going to lubricate the right here where the auger or the chute turns, the crank. I'm going to lubricate that, and I'm also going to lubricate all around here. We're going to go on the back side. It's going to go on the other side here, guys. I'm going to lubricate all in here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it around a little bit just to kind of get it to work in a bit. So keep cranking it. See anything I don't like, I just keep spraying it up. This is it's supposed to be a non-drip lube, but it drips. So that's all lubricate. I'm going to lubricate here, all the fittings. And now I'm going to come up into the side here. I'm going to lubricate all the heads on the bolts. And I'm going to lubricate all the inside, every bolt. Whoop, I lost my little red pin or whatever you call these things. I don't even know what they're actually called. Anybody know what that's called? Little straw that goes in the end. Let me know in the comments. So I'm going to spray every bolt. It only takes a couple of minutes. And this is just to keep them from rusting. You got to go here on the side. You got to get these little guys here. Now I'm going to spray on the outside, all the bolts. And then on the back side, I'll spray these ones, even though I don't really need to, because I'll be taking them off anyways. Spray everything here. Everything has to get sprayed up. Okay, so I got all the bolts. I think I got them all. Hopefully I didn't miss any. If you notice I did miss this guy. If you notice any, leave in the comments if I missed a bolt somewhere. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray all inside here where the impeller is. A lot of you guys like to paint in here. Well, go ahead and paint it. I don't care to paint it. I'd rather just spray it with a lube. Just try to keep the rust from building up, because it's just going to get all scratched up, and it's a piece of equipment. And my piece of equipment doesn't have to be all shiny. It just has to do the job. So I'm just going to spray a lot of lube in here. Try not to breathe too much of this. So give it a good spraying. And I'm going to grab the other can. It's got a little bit more in it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray on the auger. Again, this is just to keep it from building up any more rust, because obviously it's got some markings, scratching all over it. I can't be bothered to paint. Now you can see here, this might be worth the paint. Not this year, but maybe next year. You can kind of see it's got a lot of beading going on from the gravel. A little bit hitting, you know, spilling off the chain. But I'm just going to spray it with the grease so that it's protected, won't rust up or anything like that. Now I'm going to do the chain. I'm going to give it a good wash with this stuff. If you're coming back here with me, you can see I'm going to open the little door here, and if you can kind of see, maybe on this side here, there's quite a bit of chain that's exposed in here. I'm trying to get all that in there. Just spray the heck out of everything. Here, the oil is not going to hurt anything. So you can see it's a dry lube, or not a dry lube, but it's a kind of a non-drip lube. It does drip a little. Not, you know, when I say a little, I mean like a little. It doesn't drip very much. So I think I've got basically everything that I want to spray up. Oh, no, I haven't. I've got this down here. I got my ski. It's going to spray my ski up. These guys like the rust for whatever reason. And then I'm going to spray the edge here. I'm going to get all the edge. I'm holding my breath when I can. I usually put my mask on, but I can't put my mask on and talk to you guys. The other thing I like to also lubricate is, you can see here how the paint that's come off here on the edges. If I see paint basically peeled off, I just put some oil on it, or some of this grease, and then that's all I do. Now, once this gets a lot worse or something, I'll take the time to paint it, but I'm not going to paint it every year and stuff like that. I just can't spend the time doing that. And I'll go here on the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing. I can see here up on the top, I've got, you know, some spots that need to be sprayed. It's just to get some lubrication on it so it doesn't rust. I'm looking here again on the back, on the frame. And that's basically it for the lubrication, guys. I'm going to show you the next step, but I got to move the tractor. So guys, the next thing to do is to remove the snowblower from the tractor. It's quite an easy process. What I do is temporarily, I'm just going to store it here until I find a permanent home for it. I've got some blocks underneath. If you come up here to the front, I've got a quick attach here for my 3-point. So all I have to do is remove, or pull up rather, these handles. I'm going to push this guy here out of the way. The crank arm here, it's going to push it down. That should be fine there. And now I'm going to lower the other thing I wanted to show you here down below. I pulled the peg down here so that little stand will go into the block there. So I'm going to lower it down, and you're going to see here it should let go from the 3-point. You see in there how the 3-point is removed completely from the bushing here, and again from the bushing up here, and same on the other side. So the next thing I got to do is I got to kind of climb in here if I can. What I want to do, it's going to be hard for you if you're going to come up here more to the front here with me. I'm going to try and sneak in here, and I've got to reach underneath here, lift this little flange up. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to remove the drive shaft from the PTO. And that actually came off rather easy. I'm going to just let it hang down for a second. Don't want it to drop onto the ground. It's pretty close. So now I'm just going to pull the tractor out of the way. Oh, make sure, double check. Make sure there's nothing attached. We're all good. I'll pull the tractor away and I'll show you the next little thing that I do. Let's get it started up. Just keeping my eye here and make sure there's nothing attached. I've got the chain still on the still attached there, so I'm just going to go back. Good thing I kept my eye on it. I didn't see this right here right away. I'm going to undo this chain here that holds the shaft up. You never know, it's quite easy to leave something attached when you're doing this kind of stuff, but I'm glad I caught it. Now this wire here, I don't know how the heck I tied it on, but oh, there we go. No problem. We'll just do this here. I'm trying to hold the drive shaft off the ground at the same time. So I just keep spinning this off. What happened, I think, in the winter there, the reason why I've got the yellow lead wire is because in the winter time the clamp that I had on here had fallen off. So I just wired it up because it was cold that day. This was the fastest way to do it. Yeah. Okay, we're almost there. Let's get this off. Hopefully you can hear me over the, should have turned the tractor off to do this, but I'm here now. Okay, what have I got for a mess? Okay guys, I almost got it. There we go. So now I've got the drive shaft off. It's going to slip out if I don't hold it up somehow. I'll just put my glove underneath so that if it hits the ground, I'm not going to get too much dirt on it. I'll just hold it like that. So now we're free and clear. Should have double checked it. Maybe I should have triple checked everything there. So I'm going to pull the tractor ahead now. Get the tractor completely out of the way. There, I should have turned down the volume of the tractor a little bit. I don't know if you guys could hear what I was doing there. But anyways, I definitely should have triple checked. So now the next thing that I do, or actually I don't do, is I don't take the drive shaft off and I don't grease it up now. Now the reason for that is that the reason why I don't grease up the drive shaft or don't take it off now is because I'm going to have to take it off anyways, and it's bolted on this end here. So the reason why I've said I'm going to have to take it off anyways is that come next winter, the gearbox is just, if you can see underneath there, the gearbox is just underneath there. And I have to take the gearbox out in order to drain it so that I can put new fresh oil in it, gear oil in it. So all I do now is I just tie it up here and I leave it attached until winter time comes or close to winter, and then I'll take it off. And what I'll do is I'll lubricate. I'll bring this inside the garage and I'll lubricate the shaft in the garage. I'll do it all at that time. All this section, all at that time. I'll take the gearbox off, put new gear oil in, and lubricate the drive shaft. I mean, I could literally. There's fittings here and there's fittings there. I could actually put some grease, but look at the grease in there. There's no point of greasing it now. There's just, what's going to happen is that, again, is through the time that I have it stored, it's going to collect a lot of dust in here. And it's going to collect dust there, dirt, whatever, ground blowing dirt on there. So what I have to do is I have to clean it. Now, if I clean it now and put it back, well, then I'm kind of defeating the purpose. Or I could put it back, or I could put it in storage for now, but I'll just leave it like this. It's just much more simple. Starting to ramble on, eh, guys? So anyways, that's basically what I do to get my snowblower off my tractor prepared for the next winter. So there's very little for me to do when it comes to next winter. Just change the oil, lubricate the shaft, which is a whole video of itself. One last thing is that didn't take very long, guys. It takes longer to film it than actually to do it. It's not very difficult work, so having the snowblower is well worth it. What I got to do, I've got to go and get is the tarp. I throw a tarp over top here and let it sit here until whenever I'm going to move it to another storage space, or I'll just leave it here until winter time. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, you can always do so by hitting that subscription button down below. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Gelling Outdoors.